What people call liking or disliking another is rarely about the other at all. It is a surface interpretation of something far more ancient, far more precise, and far less personal than the mind prefers to believe. Beneath preference, beneath judgment, beneath attraction and aversion, there is a field of recognition, one that operates beyond conscious thought. It is here that the interplay of light and shadow reveals itself. Every human being carries both, not as metaphor, but as lived reality. The light is not goodness in the moral sense, nor is the shadow evil. That framing belongs to the uninitiated mind. The mind that has not yet entered the work. The light is what has been seen, integrated, and brought into conscious alignment. The shadow is what remains unexamined, denied, rejected, or disowned. This is the first distortion. People believe they are reacting to others, when in truth they are reacting to the degree of integration within themselves. When someone encounters a person who has done the inner work, who has faced their shadow, who has endured the breakdown of identity, who has allowed the dissolution required for transformation, there is a distinct energetic coherence present. It is not loud. It does not demand attention. It does not perform. It simply is. And that presence does something. It reveals, not by intention, but by nature. To one who has not entered their own depths, this coherence is not experienced as neutral. It is experienced as dissonance. Something does not align. Something cannot be placed. The mind cannot categorize it cleanly because it does not fit into familiar structures of comparison, hierarchy, or validation. So the psyche does what it has always done when faced with the unknown. It projects. Projection is not accidental. It is protective. The unintegrated shadow cannot be seen directly without destabilizing the constructed identity. So instead, it is displaced, assigned outward, given form in another person. The other becomes the carrier of what the self refuses to hold. This is where liking and disliking are born. Not from truth, but from displacement. If the other reflects qualities that the individual has rejected within themselves, there is immediate resistance, irritation, distrust, sometimes even hostility. The reaction feels justified because it feels real. But its source is misidentified. It is not the other that is intolerable. It is what they mirror. Likewise, when the other embodies qualities that the individual unconsciously longs to reclaim, strength, clarity, authenticity, presence, there can be attraction, admiration, even fixation. But again, this is not about the other. It is about what has not yet been realized within. In both cases, the other is being used as a surface onto which the internal landscape is projected. This is the mechanism. But there is another layer, one that belongs to the deeper teachings, the ones preserved in fragments across traditions, often hidden behind symbol and initiation. Those who have undergone genuine inner work do not simply think differently. They are organized differently. The inner contradictions have been brought into tension and held long enough for something new to emerge. The false unity of the unexamined self has been broken. In its place, a dynamic equilibrium forms, one that includes both light and shadow without fragmentation. This creates a field, not metaphorically, functionally, a coherence that is felt whether consciously recognized or not. To those who are similarly engaged in the work, this field is stabilizing. There is resonance, recognition without the need for explanation. The interaction is clean, not because it is always comfortable, but because it is not distorted by projection. But to those who are not, the experience is different. The field acts as a catalyst. It accelerates what is unresolved. The presence of coherence exposes incoherence, not through judgment, but through contrast, and contrast creates tension. This tension must resolve. If the individual has the capacity and willingness, this tension becomes the doorway. Discomfort becomes inquiry, reaction becomes reflection. The projection is withdrawn, and the work begins. But if that capacity is not present, or if the identity is too rigid to allow destabilization, the tension resolves in another way. It is externalized. The coherent individual is labeled, dismissed, critiqued, elevated unrealistically, or diminished unfairly. It does not matter which, both are forms of projection, both avoid the same thing, seeing clearly. This is why those who carry integrated light often find themselves misunderstood. Not because they are unclear, but because clarity disrupts illusion, and illusion, when threatened, does not quietly dissolve, it defends. The defense can appear as indifference, skepticism, judgment, or even admiration that places the other on a pedestal. Because placing someone above you is just as effective.